Hi guys, how are you? I hope you're okay. I hope that you have been having fun and that you have been taking care of yourself. Today's a hot day. I'm red all over. I don't know why. I got a rash on my lips hair because I shaved a couple days ago and I think that I was too aggressive with the shaving. I hope that you have enjoyed the same video for 2 days. Um, because I was just trying to not give you so much to read, but you can like do the same activity twice so you can finish reading the chapter because you're supposed to finish the chapter. So what we will do today is that we will discuss some of the questions that are going to be in tomorrow's um, practice or assessment. This practice actually costs points, probably 10. Still don't know, it depends on the questions, but I don't think that it will be more than 10. So you don't have to worry. I have some Tron music as a background. I hope you can hear it. Um, and let's discuss some of the questions. I'm going to read one specific one of your classmates that find mostly all the questions, and I'm sorry for all the ones that haven't sent the homework. You're gonna send it late, so you're not gonna have the same points. But I have seen that most of you haven't sent the biomes questions, so by that you're gonna have troubles in your test. So I'm sorry, you're supposed to do your homework on time. Okay, so let's go to the first question that this person had. Thank you, Lorena. It says, what adaptation has to do with the biome? And the answer was the biome is a large area of the world that has distinct climate and geography. Plants and animals that live there have physical adaptations to the biome, and the biomes are called ecosystems, and the ecosystems live different animals and plants. That's a good answer. The only thing that I would add is that adaptation has to do with the fact that you have to adapt is the action of getting used to something different every time it changes. So for an example, or ecosystems in Honduras, because everything is tropical, mostly never changes. But in places like Canada, for an example, adaptation has everything to do with the beings, with the animals and the plants, because when it's winter and everything gets cold, before this time, animals have to eat a lot. The ones that hibernate, they eat a lot, and then they go to sleep for months in a cave. And if they don't hibernate, like birds, for an example, or butterflies, they have to fly away from that area to another area because they cannot adapt. Some plants, like grass, for an example, when this happens, it freezes completely. They kind of die, but in their roots, they absorb some of the water in the snow, and then in the winter and in the spring, they come back to life. So, what adaptation has to do with the biome is the fact that people can change their different ways of living. So they can live in a certain place, and if they can adapt. And if they cannot adapt, they have to move to another place. Then we have the next question. The next question says, describe the tundra biome. And this person answered, tundras are found in different places. Tundras are like a desert, but it's colder. They're cold and the winters are long. Some plants can grow in the tundra biome and on the layer that is always frozen called permafrost. Trees can grow in the tundra because they cannot live in the cold soil. Now, that's a good one. That's a good answer. Now, the tundra biome has a specific characteristic that it's always frozen, that it's always cold. So the plants that grow around it have to be adapted to this kind of a specific weather. And the permafrost is a big layer of ice and snow that is around the ground, that is around the soil, that allows some plants to grow, but it can be lichens or algae, because otherwise they won't be able to grow there. So that's a good one. The next question that we have is describe day and night in the tundra biome. So we have in there, in the tundra, in the day, it has a lot of sunlight for 24 hours. And it's hot in the day, but in the night it's cold and it's very dark. You find this in the Arctic tundra that covers about 20% of the earth. Now, there's something missing about this, and I'm gonna get the book to help you answer this. Give me a sec. Okay. Now, day and night, if I'm not wrong, in the tundras, they last for 24 for months, if I'm not wrong, and that was what the question was about. Mm, it says in here, tundras have long, cold winters, and in this region, the sun rarely rises during winter. Here. Page 78. It's dark for most of the day, and the average temperature is well below 0 Fahrenheit. Tundras have short summers. During the summer, the sun shines for almost 24 hours each day. The temperatures average between 37 Fahrenheit and 60 Fahrenheit in the spring, and fall seasons are also very hot. Okay, so what we can write in there about the tundras, day and night, is that during the day, their temperatures are very, very high, and in the night, depending if they're in the summer or they're in the winter, because it says in here, temperatures between 37 Fahrenheit and 60 Fahrenheit, the spring and fall seasons are also very short. So in this area, as you can see, the animals are Arctic. So in these areas, the days are long and cold. That's what you can write about them. And the nights are also cold, but only in the summer and in the fall, but those seasons are very short. So later you have few plants growing the tundra. As you were saying, we were talking about algae. Yeah, that's what we can say about the day and the night in the tundra. Okay. If you need to study it again, it's page 78 in here. Then we have describe the grassland's biome. In it, she wrote, grassland biome is called grassland because its land is covering grass, like the savanna, where some animals can live, like the elephants, zebras, giraffes, and other animals. And there are two types of grasslands, temperate and tropical. Excellent. That's an excellent answer. Grasslands are areas full of grass. That's because the name has it already. And we can say in there that these areas are optimal areas to live for specific animals like the lions and the zebras and all those kind of animals. And we can also write in there that grasslands are located in Africa, part of Argentina, South America, which would be part of Argentina too, and that something very specific about grasslands is that the grassland keeps dormant during the winter, because sometimes places in Argentina get a lot of snow, so the grass doesn't die, it only goes to sleep. So in this time the grass is gonna look brown, or in the hot summers, the grass is gonna look brown and it's gonna look dry. But then when the rainy season comes back, then they're gonna green up again. Grasslands is because everything you see is green when there's rainy season, or brown when it's dry season. It says in there, talk about something about the amount of rain. So it says in here, tropical grasslands have both dry season and rainy season. Little rain falls during the long dry season. During the rainy season, it might rain every day. So these specific grasslands get rain for seasons, a lot of rain or no rain. But adaptation is key in the grasslands because the animals can either stay in there or hibernate or migrate to another area. And also the grass, that is the key because it's in the name of the biome, gets adapted to it. It's dormant when there's no water, when it's too cold, or it wakes up and it gets green again when there's rainy season. Don't worry, you will be able to use your book in your practice. But I would advise you to read the stories again, and if you haven't sent me the questions, Send them to me, please. Okay, so it says identify the differences between temperate and tropical grasslands. And she wrote, temperate is a humid and moist, and others are semi-arid. Humid grasslands, something called moisture, that helps the grass grow very tall and are strong grasses to animals that eat tall grass. Tropical, they're also called savannas, and they're found in the east of Africa and Australia. The climate on the tropical grasslands is hot. It's hotter than the temperature in the grasslands. Tropical grasslands have both climate dry and dry season. Okay, so excellent. So differences between them. The tropical grassland, oh wait, here again. It says in here, temperate and tropical. Temperate grassland is moist and humid, so it feels super dampy. The kind of sweat that you stick your shirt to your body and you're like, my God, it's so hot. That's Africa. That is a temperate grassland. That's the picture in here. That even if when you see it, it's not completely green, it's not bright because it's hot all the time because of the humidity in there. But then this humidity helps the grass to grow very, very, very tall, as tall as a human, so the animals can feed from that. And the tropical grassland, and these temperate grasslands can be semi-arid and short and have short grasses. And the grasses remain shorter and semi-arid. Yeah, so they have two, arid and semi-arid. And then in the tropical grassland, so let's summarize it again. Tropical, temperate grassland, it's a place that is humid. It's a place that is moistured. The grass can grow very, very, very tall so the animals can feed from it. And it can be located in the pampas of Argentina, in North America. Okay? And it can have also semi-arid grasslands. Now, tropical grasslands are called savannas. These savannas are found in the east of Africa and Australia. So the temperate grasslands are located in the States and in South America, Argentina and the States. And the tropical grasslands or savannas are located in East Africa. And this kind of weather is warmer. And they have both seasons, dry and rainy seasons. So the difference between this and the other ones is that this has two kind of seasons, dry season and rainy season. And during rainy season, it might rain every day. So again, I'm going to summarize it again. Temperate grasslands, Argentina, the States, it can be semi-arid, and the grass can grow very, very tall. Tropical grasslands are also called savannas. They're found in East Africa and Australia, and they're warmer, they're hotter. If you think that the States and Argentina are hot, try Africa. And they have both seasons, dry and rainy season, okay? Long explanation, but I wanted to be super clear. The next question was, make a small summary about the new residential area that are making in the Tigra. So let's see what she wrote. The Santa Maria residential was intended to be built in El Picacho or La Tigra area, where this was a very large project that consisted in making thousands of houses in the residential area. The people that would live in there would be living in places surrounding El Atillo, El Picacho, Santa Lucia, El Chimbo, Residencial Santa Lucia, and all these people were against the construction of this project because it would affect the areas surrounding it. Living the areas without oxygen and vegetation, without water, and practically leaving everything as a desert, because it was intended to cut off all the thousands of trees around it. Now, amazing, Lorena. That's an amazing research. So this residential area that they wanted to build, that they're gonna build because it's gonna be built, it's gonna be built. Actually, I can see from my house that there are some trees that they cut. And remember, something that is very key in the story, it talks about the actions of the trees the trees in our way of living. I forgot, where is it written? Wait, I remember that there was an area that talked about the trees and how the trees produce oxygen for us. Was it in the story? So this is what you're doing basically in your test. Because you already read it, you just scan it. Many medicines, vegetation, forests, animals, balance, ecological balance. Can't find it. But it was a part that says that because trees produce oxygen and the plants absorb the CO2, the carbon dioxide that we cannot breathe, the plants, or the trees in this case, absorb the carbon dioxide in the air and they transform it into oxygen for us. I don't remember, where was it? Oh, here. It's in page 82. Here. It says in here, forests are the largest and most diverse ecological systems. About 1/3 of the Earth's land surface is forest. Trees fill the forest. The trees are important because they take in carbon dioxide to use in photosynthesis and give off oxygen for humans and animals to breathe. So as you can see, the fact that they're cutting the trees is going to affect us because the trees that they're cutting are not going to be able to absorb all the carbon dioxide in the air and transform it into oxygen. And without the oxygen, we will die. Now, trees not only are involved in the fact that we would have oxygen, but also water, because the roots of those trees absorb water from the earth, so they keep the freshness of the air. That's why when there's an area with not a lot of trees, it gets hotter. And also El Chimbo, in some places in Santa Lucia that I know of, I don't know, get the water from the mountain, in this case of El Chimbo. So if you get water from the mountain and there's no trees, there's no water. So no trees means no water and no oxygen. And if you don't have oxygen, then you would die. Also, she wrote in here, the residential in La Tigra is affecting the environment because the people make fires in La Tigra, and in there lives animals. And every day that there are less trees, we have less oxygen, and we are drying down the forest, and we don't have water. Pretty clever. I like this answer. And finally, the last question that she sent me is, where this residential is? It's exclusively in the area of Santa Lucia, in El Chimbo, and El Picacho. And then, sorry, I have a wound in here. Where is this located? In La Tigra, Francisco Morazan. The extension, it's about 238.2 kilometers. Well, it's really big. If you go near in front of in el colegio, I forgot the name. I forgot the name, but it's a high school before El Sitio. I forgot the name. I'm sorry, my mind is so bad today. Well, sorry. So something that is going to be included in your Wednesday test is going to be the assessment charts in your, so it's going to be all the questions that we discussed and the questions from your assessment chart in the book. I know some people send it. If you haven't, send them. Okay, so we have in here, what was the biome? And the answer is, it's letter C. So go get your book and check that you have the correct answer. Choose the correct answer. What is a biome? It's a group of animals and plants that share similar traits. It's the weather and geography of a specific region. It's the ecological community where distinct plants and animals live. So your answer would be letter C. That's a biome. And then what is a permafrost layer? It would be letter B. Is the layer of ground below the top layer of in the tundra. That's where a little there's some snow, but there's also some soil in there. The largest biome on Earth is I think that it would be a forest biome, because it let's go back to the story to be sure. Tropical rainforests are located in the equator. Tropical rainforests, because tropical rainforests have thick vegetation. Forests are the largest and most diverse ecological ecosystem. So, the largest biome on Earth is a forest biome, letter A. Then, what is a way that animals adapt to their environment? They hibernate during the hot weather. They hibernate during the cold weather. They make friends with other animals. They became endangered by human activity. I would say letter A. They hibernate during the. Oh, sorry. Letter B. They hibernate during the cold weather. Not the hot weather. They're actually out when there's hot weather. And so letter B. Then we have answer the critical thinking questions in complete sentences. Why are the tropical rainforests so important for humans and other animals? Give at least 2 reasons. 2 reasons. Forests have a lot of trees, and they produce the trees absorb the carbon dioxide in the air and transform it into oxygen. That's one reason. 2. The roots on the trees absorb the humidity and the water from the soil, and they keep water sources for human. 2 reasons. What negative effects can careless human behavior have in biomes? Remember, complete sentences. The negative effects of careless human, of people that is bad to the nature, on the biomes can be the killing of a lot of animals, the destruction of the trees, of the fauna, of the flora in the earth, the destruction of water sources, air sources. I give you 5. Complete sentences. Then we have use the chart to describe how the geography and climate of a biome affects the plants and animals that live in there. In the cause column, it lists the geographic or climatic features of the biome, and in the effect column, note the ways in which this weather affects the growth or habitats of the animals and plants that live in the biome. So we have one example in here. We have tundra. And then only the top layer of the ground, thus the summer. In the effect, no trees can grow in the tundra, because there's usually not a lot of sun in there that makes it grow. Now, I want to ask you for more than 2 examples, so I'll give you another example, because I gave you one already. You can write the second example. In the tropical rainforest, let's go to the book in here. In the tropical rainforest, tropical rainforests have very thick vegetation. They have a lot of trees, and they have to fight for the sunlight, because the vegetation doesn't let the sun to get inside. So there's not a lot of plants in the ground of the tropical rainforest. So you will find a lot of mud, a lot of water mixed with soil, and some insects. But you won't find a lot of plants. It's always muddy, because the lack of sun. Plants cannot grow. So that can be an effect. So what can be the effect? The cause is lack of sun in the tropical rainforest. Effect can be plants can grow in the optimal way. Okay? So this is your review for tomorrow's assessment. I'm sorry the video is so long. I really wanted to explain everything to you and you have it clear. I'm sorry my neighbors have dogs. And I hope that you succeed in today's test. Assessment, practice, whatever you want to call it. So click in the, whatever it is, in the assessment and go for it. You have till midnight. Bye, guys.